Hi, my name is Lars Hulvøj, and today I'll be taking you through the help files and other pieces of information that will help you get set up and use Universal API as quickly as possible. The one URL you have to remember is developer.travelport.com. That is our one-stop shop for any information that is relevant for developer. When you first go to the website, you will see that you need to log in to get access to the majority of the information. If you don't already have an account, you can self-register for an account, and that will also give you access to our general Ask Travelport website, which also contains information that are more aimed at travel agents, but could also be useful for a developer. So I will just very quickly log on to the website. And once I do that, I then have the different categories at the top: Universal API, Universal Desktop SDK, and other APIs. For today, I'll be talking about the Universal API, so I will click the Getting Started link. This is really a one landing page that links through to all the information you could possibly need. So if you look at it, the first thing you need to do is to get a set of credentials. We offer sandbox credentials, test credentials, so you can get them for 30 days and you can try out the product, or you can obviously sign a contract and get access to the full thing. Once you have the credentials, you want to read about how to getting started. And if you look at the detailed help, there's actually a whole bunch of chapters that will take you through what URL to connect to, how to insert your credentials, what you need to know about the travel industry, and then it will take you through each of the individual transactions. For now, what I'm just going to show you is this air shopping and booking part. So that's one of the chapters, and that is everything relevant to air. From here, I can then read about the different shopping and booking models. I can click through, I can read more about low fare shopping, which is the transaction that are mainly used on websites, on internet booking engines, because that gives you both availability and fares at the same time. Once you are in the relevant page for the transaction you want to use, that gives you some information that we use for all the different transactions. It will tell you what the request looks like. So you can click through and you can see the schema diagram. This is just a graphic. I'll show you later on how you can actually work with the real schema behind the transaction. But you can see a graphics that shows you the most important elements. Below that graphic, we'll typically have minimum required data. There are things you need to put into the transaction in order to use it. And for low fare shopping, these are the different things. And below that again, you'll find optional data. What sort of thing can you use to go in and improve the process? Then it will talk about what the response looks like. And it will talk about any exceptions that exist for our different products. So for instance, Galileo might work slightly differently from WorldSpan for some specific parts of the transaction. You can see the exceptions for that by clicking through at the bottom of this. What we also have is a whole set of sample transactions. So we actually have the XML in place that shows you how to do everything from doing the shopping transaction to doing a follow-up pricing transaction to actually creating a booking for air, for hotel, for car rental. So at the very bottom of the page, you will see that there is a sample associated with low fare shopping. I'll click through, there's a nice graphic. You can click through to air and hotel. I'll click through to the air workflow. And from here, you can then see that there is a set of different workflows you can choose from. If I click into any of these, I can then see that this minimum data on Galileo will take you through the search for available segments, pricing of air segments, booking, ticketing, everything you need. I'll click one of them and you can see you get XML up on the screen, and you can take that and you can put it into your code. You can put it into a test tool that you will find on the help page, or really anything you want to connect to Universal API, and you can try to play with the transactions and the samples. Another thing we've done is when we launched Universal API, we came up with a sample site. So this is a very, very basic internet booking engine. It's certainly not meant to compete with anything out there in the real marketplace. But the purpose of this is not to give you an internet booking engine. The purpose is to give you something that you can use to learn how to use Universal API to build your own internet booking engine. So what you'll see is you'll have a very basic search criteria page. There's a from, there's a to, there's a date, departure and return, different options for adult, children and infants. And then there's a number of checkboxes where you can choose what you want to search. So you can search for air, low-cost carriers, hotel, car rental. Now, the special thing is if you put the mouse over any of these things on the screen, you'll get a tooltip, and that will tell you this option, this user interface option, that actually corresponds to this place in the XML. So if you wanted to go in and include GDS content by putting the mouse over the checkbox, you can see that you can do that by specifying a specific provider and then use the relevant provider code. So that is something we have for the entire website. So I can say the from field, that goes in here, the to field goes in here. I've already done a search on the website, so you can see what it looks like. And what I've done here is a flight and hotel search, so you can do both of them combined. So the flights will show you all the different flights that comes back, in this case, for search from London, from Copenhagen to London Gatwick. And I can see the flight information, I can see a logo, I can see departure arrival times, but I can also click through and I can see the underlying XML. So you can see from the response that came back from Universal API, where did we actually pick up this information? So it's very easy to navigate between the XML, which is what you will get back, and the flights, which shows you a graphical view or textual view of the same information. At the same time, you can also click through and you can see the request that was generated on the basis of your search. From here, I can then close that down. I can take my flight and I can add it to a shopping basket. I can click through to hotels and you will see that you also get hotel content coming through. And again, similar to for flights, I can see graphical, the textual view, or I can click through and I can see the underlying XML, and I can take my hotel that I got and I can add that to the shopping basket, and I can then click to price and I can go through to the entire booking process. Now this website is a bit dated. So what we're looking at is we're building the next generation of the website, which will be even richer in functionality, which will have even better view of the contents, and which will obviously use the latest transactions. But for now, this is in place. It's a great starting point, and it helps you to link between something you need from a functional side into how do you do it in the API. The final thing I want to show you for this is back on the Getting Started page. You can actually download the latest version of the schemas for Universal API. And right now, when we're shooting this video, the latest one is version 6. We do quite frequent updates, so you will find later and later versions of the different schemas. What you'll get through is this search page where you can check what do I want to search for. In this case, I want to search for the latest schema. So I select that, I click Find Resources, and I get the current version, which is 6.0.0.75. From here, I can download it. It's a big zip file. I can put it on my machine and I can use it. So I've already done that. So this is the way it looks. Once you unzip your zip file, you'll get a folder structure that looks like this. So these are the different areas of functionality we have. So this is air, this is hotel, this is vehicle, which is car rental. And then finally, the more important one as well is universal, which is universal record. So this is about creating your bookings, changing your bookings, things that actually have an impact on what is booked in the system, what goes into the PNR or into the universal record, as we call it in Universal API. Now, I can use any tool I want to work with these schema files. So if you have a preferred tool for schema files, this will work absolutely fine. For me, I have Microsoft Visual Studio, so I will go in and open up this one here for Air, Request Response XSD. That will open up Visual Studio, and from there I can then see everything that's possible to do when I'm sending a request, and I can see everything I can expect to get back. So for this one here, I can just drag the entire namespace into my screen. It will show one view of it. I actually prefer this different view, which just lists all the different transactions. So if I wanted to do something like, for instance, availability, I would go down the list and I would find availability search REQ for request on the list. From there, you can then see the different attributes and XML elements that is relevant for this transaction. I can actually even turn on inline documentation. So in Visual Studio, you do that by right-clicking in the background and selecting Show Documentation. Now I can actually read about what the different things does. So I can see authorized by, it's used in showing who authorized the request. I can go in and I can see that there is a choice in the XML schema. There's a choice between search air leg or search specific air segment. So that's because for availability, I could go in and say, I want availability for British Airways flight number 9, or I can more do a general availability and say, I want to see availability from London to Singapore. Let me just click into that. you will see that search airlay you can do between 1 and 9, so it is a mandatory part. Once you add it, you can then see that's divided into search origin, search destination, and I have a choice of searching for departure or arrival time. So together with the samples, with the help file, with the sample website, and the schema, we have all the documentation in place to help you get set up and running and use Universal API to its fullest. Thank you for watching.